And welcome back to the Daily Dose of Dalton podcast. Coming back to you with another episode. I know after a 2-week hiatus, if you want to call it that, 2-week break, but I know some people are not fully caught up, so I figured I'd give a little time for that. And also, me and Courtney went to South Haven last week to go see my dad for his birthday. So, I was spending some time with them. Didn't really want to take away time from that to come record this. So, it was really good getting to see them. Got to spend some quality family time, watch some movies, TV shows, and hang out by the pool. So that was really fun. I enjoyed that. You know, I feel like the older you get, the more you just enjoy just getting to hang out and see your family. You don't always have to do something crazy like when you're younger. Like go out and do stuff. It's just everybody sitting in the same room. You kind of appreciate that more the older you get. So, so that's why it was a little bit of a break. But also, going forward, there will probably continue to be a 2-week break or, spacing between episode releases or recordings. Because, number one, Courtney suggested it. And, when your wife suggests something, that means you do it. So, hey, it only took me a year and however many weeks of marriage to learn that one. So, I feel like I've already got a head start on some other guys. But, just with school starting back in August for me, just probably would be best just with a crazy schedule and quizzes, exams, whatnot. We know Harding is a little more challenging, especially for me. So it would probably just be best if I did it every 2 weeks, just so I had something less on my plate, not stressing about getting out, which that's not my quote, but yeah. So probably start doing that every 2 weeks just to make my life a little easier. Not that this is hard. This is a joy to be able to do. I just get to talk uninterrupted for however long I want. And people can just log off if they don't want to listen. So anyways, speaking of Harding, my mom, I don't know if you can see it, had these old, there's a hoodie too. I've had these old hoodies that I can't really fit into anymore because, first off, I'm bigger than when I got them. Second off, somebody shrunk them in the dryer. I'm not going to say any names, but they're just, I got really tight and like raised up on the sleeves. And so she was able to cut them off and form little t-shirt hoodies because I like wearing something over my head because my ears get cold. If you know me, you know I love hoodies because of my cold ears. And number two, look how stylish it is. Look at that. That's so cool. So she was able to get that done for me. And I think it's very cool. So shout out to Mama for that. I'll be bringing you some more old hoodies I find that I don't want to wear long sleeve styled. So, yeah. Kendall, my little sister, is in Minnesota right now, visiting her boyfriend Jesse or Goliath or Judarius. Well, you may know him by many names, but he will not get called by his real name until he is officially part of the family or they get engaged. But hopefully that's not like till 20 years down the road. So, he actually watches every episode, unlike my sister, because I guess he just loves me more than Kendall does. And that's okay. Because, it could be worse. Me and him could hate each other and he could not stand my guts. But me and him get along, and I feel like that's a blessing in every family when that happens. So Kendall may be watching her first episode if Judah makes her sit down and watch it. And so that's an exciting thought to have. So Kendall, I hope you enjoy. And if you don't, please don't tell me because that might break my heart. Just humor me a little bit. Moving on. I need to clear the air and my name and everything going on in the light of recent events. I think we know what I'm talking about. I think we know I'm talking about former President Donald Trump and the near assassination attempt. I'm not going to give you any of my thoughts on it. If you want to know my thoughts, you can text me privately. And mostly because I just don't want to put what I think out there. Because I don't want certain 3-letter agencies coming after me and making it lights out. because I exposed them. So, with that being said, the last episode, I gave my movie pitch for a group of guys going into Washington, D.C. to the president. And it wasn't based off President Trump or President Biden. But still, kind of really, 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 really bad timing that I released that last week or 2 weeks ago. And then last week, that happens. So, anybody listening, I promise, pinky swear, that I have no ill intents of any president, current or former, living or not. No ill will. That was just really bad timing. And it's a great movie idea, but a really bad thing to happen in real life. And it's just crazy to me that actually happened. I mean, I know there's been stuff before, like the guy throwing the shoes at W, and that guy trying to get on stage at the rally. Was that 2020 or was that 2015? I can't remember. Lord, I'm getting old. But anyways, I know there's been like other stuff, but we've never seen an attempt like that. And I couldn't even like wrap my mind around it that happened. But I just want everybody to know, CIA, FBI, Secret Service, Zuckerberg, Joe Rogan, the lady who, checks me out at Harps at the cashier, whoever could be listening or watching. I had nothing to do with it. I don't think I inspired anybody, considering I only have 11 subscribers, and I'm pretty sure one of them is me from another account, YouTube account. So please don't come arrest me. I promise I had nothing to do with it. It was a movie idea. If you see my Google history of what happens where does the president go if a bomb goes off in the cat, like, it was just for my movie. Okay. It was for the plot. I wanted to make sure I was at least somewhat credible. I don't want to do anything bad. I don't want to hurt anybody.
And I haven't arranged for anybody to clear my internet history. I wasn't building a bomb. I was just curious.
I do want to hurt some people, but not like, I don't want to kill anybody. Which kind of brings me to my next thing. When did the world get so gooned up that people want to start killing each other and attacking each other for having different beliefs and mindsets and values? Like, that's just never. I mean, I don't think I ever could bring myself to go and get a weapon or just go confront somebody just because they had a different political belief than me and try to end their life because of it. Like, I don't even know if I could end somebody's life in a self-defense situation. Like, it would take a lot for me to have to do that. But for people to just willingly go and start attacking people simply because you think differently on an issue, that's crazy to me. Like, when our parents were growing up, if, let's just take a problem. Let's just say, I don't want to get too political. Let's just say taxes, right? And somebody on this side thinks, I think our taxes should be higher for A, B, C, D reasons. And somebody on this side says, I don't think taxes should be higher for, in our county reasons, A, B, C, D. Like, this is why I think. They'd say, okay, so we think differently. Well, you go vote the way you think, you go vote the way you think. And that's just, we try to change each other's minds. It didn't work. Oh, well, let's just move on. But now it's like, you got this guy and this guy. And it's like, hey, I think this way. Oh, well, I actually think this way. You think this way? Boom. And just like everything has become so violent. Like, people try to get each other canceled and ruin their lives and jobs and, families just because you think differently. And I think it's really sad. And I think people really need to take a step back and evaluate that if somebody having a different opinion than you makes you so mad to the point that you want to hit somebody or hurt them or bring them harm, that might be a problem with you, not a problem with them. So that's all I'll say about that. I don't want to go on a bullet train and it derail and my thoughts just out there, because ain't nobody got time for that. But I just think it's sad that, why can't people come together and just realize, hey, we all have different backgrounds. We all think differently. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't even have to be the same religion, ethnicity, job titles, working class, political views. We don't have to line up on all those just to be friends or hang out with people. But now people will block everyone who has a slightly different view than them. And I'll admit I've been at fault for that. I unfollowed a few people who were making really borderline evil comments saying that they wished, the shooter hadn't missed. And I just think it's kind of crazy that you said you wanted us to see a live assassination on television and you wanted to see somebody's head get blown off that you've never even met and they don't even know you exist. And you're going to be that hateful. So yeah, I did unfollow some people because just for my peace of mind, because it wasn't even the fact that it was Trump. If it was Biden and, people were making those comments of, oh, wish you hadn't have missed. I mean, that's evil. That's messed up. And you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because, that man, no matter who it is, that person has a family. They have people who love them and care about them. And you would make somebody a widow. You would make somebody an orphan. You would, that's just something so evil and so messed up that I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So I'm going to move on. Let's just zoop. And the next topic regarding it wasn't a spaz out, but just regarding my rant. Me and Courtney, we're actually moving, which is about 22 minutes east. Yeah, east, almost directly east from living now. Oh, I probably shouldn't say. I'll bleep out where we lived because I don't really want everybody knowing. Yeah, we're moving closer to my school in Searcy just because me and Courtney have talked about it. I'm going to have a little tougher workload while she's going to be doing clinicals, so it'll be somewhat easier. And plus, her clinicals will be closer to this new town we're moving to than it would be if we stayed in our current hometown. So that's exciting. We're downgrading a little bit, living arrangement wise, but I don't know how many 22-year-olds get that lucky. Their first place they live in we lived in Courtney's apartment first in Clinton. There was a 1-bedroom apartment, and then we got a 3-bed, 2.5 bath house. So that's pretty sick. We got really fortunate and really lucky. And so we're moving into a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. And I'm still going to have my office, but it'll probably be more of a, mutual workspace. And so I won't have my jerseys and flags and banners hanging up. So it's going to be a little bit of a loss, but I think it'll be okay. And also, literally the people in the apartment next to us is Andrew and Savannah. Savannah is Andrew's wife. I go to school with Andrew. And I said on the first episode that I'd probably get on the opposite side of the apartment complex, but I thought about it. The devil you know is better than the one you don't. And I would rather live next to Andrew, where he can just, shoot me a text or knock on the wall and be like, hey, hold it down a little bit. And, it's actually closer to the interstate, so I can get to school quicker. Courtney can get on the interstate to get to school quicker, not having to maneuver through the apartment complex. It's got a pool. It's got a weight room. It's basically got everything we need. And it'd be nice to live next to somebody we know for once. Because we've lived here almost a year now in our duplex. And I've never talked to the guy who lives next door. I've talked to his son. He's just like cracked the car one morning because he was out there. He started up. He looked at me and said, "Sup?" I was like, "Sup, dude?" And then that's it. Like, we don't talk to any of our neighbors. And this will be one of the first times we actually know our neighbors and can talk to them and actually hang out, get along. So I think that's a win for everybody. So I'm actually more excited about it than the original thought of living next to Andrew. And plus, he might come on the show or the podcast. He might make some appearances, which is kind of exciting. Could also be a disaster, though. But I'm going to think more positively the silver lining in the half full cup, whatever you people like to say. Who's texting me? Oh, that's my dad. Anyways, what does that say? Uh-oh. Drama in the sports world. Cubs dismiss Seiya Suzuki's interpreter. We know Shohei had trouble with interpreters. But anyways, back to the important stuff. Yeah, it'll be fun. And then with living closer to school, may get some more guests on here. And I know you're wondering, Dalton, why would you have other people on before you have your wife on? She doesn't want to be on it, okay? Courtney, even though she, is the light of my life and lights up every room she walks in, is so funny, so great, she doesn't want to be on it. And that's okay, because it's her choice. And I will support whatever she wants to do in life. Unless it involves doing something like tax fraud. I would not support her doing tax fraud. Would I be her accomplice? Yes. I would help fudge those numbers, but I would not support it. But she's my ride or die. Whatever she's doing, I'm there with her, 100% supporting it. That should have been my wedding vows. Ugh. Hey, shawty, you my ride or die. You kill somebody, I'll say, let me get the shovel. I ain't ever going to testify on you. That would have been so much more romantic than in sickness and in health. For richer, for poor. Because we poor right now. But, whatever. Moving on. Music world. I had an identity crisis this last week when I was at home. Courtesy of Kevin Phillips. I was telling him a story about when I was at Heber with some Harding folks. We were talking about Zach Top. And one of my friends, Reed, roommate of Cassidy, said that she loved his song, I Never Lie. I was like, oh my gosh, I love it too. And if you don't know, just go listen to it. I'm not going to play it because of copyright stuff. But basically, the point of the song is, he sees his ex-girlfriend. He's like, oh, I've heard all this great stuff's happening to you. But I've never been better myself, actually. And, I sleep like a baby. I'm never late for work. I'm not hurting. I don't miss you. And you know me, I never lie. I'm like, so my first thought was, oh, yeah, that's just a song about being over somebody. Because everybody always talks about hurting so much. He wrote it from a different perspective of, hey, I'm not hurting. I'm doing great. And so that's how I always interpreted it. And she compared it to I'm Over You, I'm Over You by Keith Whitley, which I love. I love that song by Keith Whitley. Love Keith Whitley so much. And I was like, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Because, she said that she thought of I'm Over You by Keith Whitley because, he's not actually over her. And I'm like, you're wrong. It's like I'm Over You, but I'm Over You by Keith Whitley is more, he's also saying all your friends are full of it. I'm fine. I'm over you. And so that's the thought process I've always had. And then Cassidy said that the song reminded her of Oceanfront Property because, it's just full of manure. I'll just say that, manure. And I was like, no, it's not, it's the opposite. And then I listened back to it and I was like, oh. I was like, crap. It is more like Oceanfront Property than I thought. It's like, I am wrong. And it's just not as dramatic as Oceanfront Property is. And embellishing the lies. And so I was like, crap, man. And I said, but at least, I told my dad, I was like, dang, I never really thought of that. So I told him that I was like, so it is more like Oceanfront Property, but I still think it's nothing like I'm Over You by Keith Whitley. And my dad just looked at me and went, I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? What? And he said, that song is basically I'm Over You by Keith Whitley, just newer and different. And he said, Keith Whitley's just saying, like, he's heartbroken over her, but he's never going to let her know that. And I just sat there in silence for probably 23 seconds, which if you know me, that is a long time for me to be quiet. And I was like, I'm the music guy. That's what I love. I love music, and I can't. Did I take that too literally? Like, I always look for the deeper meaning in songs. Sometimes I overthink it. Like on People Are Crazy by Billy Currington. I always thought growing up that when he said I fought 2 wars, been married and divorced, I thought he was saying that the 2 wars were a metaphor for being married and divorced. But no, that he meant 2 actual wars. So sometimes I overinterpret. But this time I was being too literal. And so I was just shook to my core. So I'll take this time that Reed, if you happen to see this, you were right. I was wrong. I apologize. I'm man enough to own up when I'm wrong, contrary to popular belief. But Cassidy, I'm not apologizing to you because there's been 100 times where I've proven you wrong. So we'll just call it even. Yeah, so that happened. But I was going to move past it. I learned from my mistakes and I bounced back stronger. But Megan Moroney released her new album last week, July 15th, maybe? I don't know when she released it, but oh well. Her album is called Am I Okay? And let me tell you, nothing but an emotional roller coaster. You go, let me look up the set list. Not set list, album order. So, on this album, sorry, it goes from being happy to being hopeful to being sad but getting over something to being a boss girl and you're like, woo, I'm over him, and then to being sad again, and then you're back to boss girl, and then you're back to, teenage girl, thinking about what could have been, and then kind of goes like that, and then it goes to being heartbroken, screaming your heart out girl, and then back to sad girl, and then back to hype girl, and then back to just absolutely devastated, and then to mature, and you're, hopeful, not hopeful, but just sad, but, not devastated. So, hang on. Got to text the wife. I just heard the garage door open, so she got home. So it means I only got a few more minutes to talk on here. That's okay. And then the last one is just back to sad girl. So overall, I should probably preface this because probably some of you are thinking, why do you listen to Megan Moroney so much? You're a man. You're so strong and stoic and manly and whatever adjectives you want to include. I'm not going to argue with you. I know I'm all of these things. Very macho, chiseled. I'm like a grizzly of a man. Okay, fine. We know. Anyways, I would say that I was forced to be a man in this world. I was forced to go through life as a man, but I was born to be a heartbroken chick screaming Megan Moroney. I saw that TikTok, and I just don't know if I've ever resonated with something more in my life. Because every song she released, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it. Like, I feel, Megan Moroney to me is to my dad's generation of when they hear dun 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 dun, dun let's go girls, and they turn into lose every ounce of masculinity. That's how I am whenever I hear Megan Moroney come on. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Here's what I'll say about the album. It was a very solid album. I liked it a lot. There were some songs I wasn't grooving on, but that's simply because I can't relate to them. Like, for example, Miss Universe. It's about how, if I lost the guy, like, I lost her to Miss Universe, like the most beautiful girl, like, he upgraded. I can't relate to that. Cannot. Just want to emphasize, I can't relate to it. Mostly because any girl who's ever moved on from me has never, okay, my take is wrong, but I'm still going to finish the thought. because I just thought about this, but I was going to say no girl has ever upgraded after she moved on from me. I can't think of a single one. And then I thought of one who ended things with me and then started dating an Ole Miss baseball player and still is. But that's the only one. I can't relate to it a whole lot because I'm just the cream of the crop. It really doesn't get better than me. And even if they are a D1 baseball player, guess what? I bet you I'm funnier. I bet you I'm more caring and attentive, and that, you know, I'm a better shoulder to cry on, even if I do have a jacked up shoulder from baseball and football. Shout out Shamar Stapleton for jacking up my shoulder in football. You really got the best of me that day when you body slammed me, but that's not what I'm talking about. Anyways, I can't really relate to that song. So, yeah, I think that if you're in a happy relationship, you're only going to like a few songs of the album. Or, like, you know, won't be able to resonate with a lot of it. But if you have a heartbroken experience, you will be. And if you're single going through a breakup right now, you're going to love this album. This album is going to get you through it. So, my favorite song off the album is probably Hope You're Happy. Mostly because it has Vince Gill in the singing background. Oh no, what happened? I lost my audio. Okay, but anyways, that doesn't really matter. No, I think my headphones just died. But moving on, or back to it. It's got Vince Gill singing background vocals, and it also has him like on the mandolin. You can barely hear the mandolin, but it's very subtle, but you can hear it. And I think it's just a great song overall because it's about, you know, you want to hate the person who you're broken up with, but you can't because you love that person and you still care about them, and so you are wishing them the best, but you just hope you never find out. So I think that's the best one. And I'll drop my rankings probably right here. So, yeah, sports world. I just don't really think there's been a whole lot going on in sports. Oh, Bronny James finally scoring points. Finally. ESPN is just, you know, loving that. Home Run Derby is just, I didn't watch it this year just because I really wasn't interested because I think they kind of picked some bums to be in it. Some guys who I think shouldn't have been in it. All-Star Game was kind of entertaining. Paul Skeens is living the dream. But like I said, I really haven't been paying much attention to sports recently because NCAA 25. I was texting Jake and Cole, and I told them that I felt like a little kid. I couldn't stop smiling, and it was just like all reminiscing, going back to 12-year-old Dalton, just playing. I was smiling. The graphics are insane. The attention to detail is crazy. The gameplay's fun, and it's not an easy game to play. It's got some challenges. It's got some, you know, actual skill required. Me and Jake have been playing online, and he's head out in front of me right now. I rage quit our last game because I was playing against Oregon, and he was Michigan at Michigan, and the game environment was so crazy I couldn't even complete a pass, and I just rage quit. I was done. So Jake's beating me right now in our, you know, head-to-head series. And Cole just is getting the game today, I think. So he's in for some major pain. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got for this week or past 2 weeks. Courtney just got home, so I'm going to go see her. And we're going to go to Greenville and go see her little cousin for his birthday. So, hopefully you're able to understand everything I said. I know I was kind of scatterbrained today. But, hey, you know me, that if you're friends with me, I'm going to be scatterbrained. So, next week I might drop the castings for my movie idea. I also might spend the next 2 weeks trying to figure out how to send my movie idea to studios and see if we can get any traction there. And I know I'm a dreamer, but I've got a heart of gold, and I had to run away high so I wouldn't come home low. Hashtag Motley Crue. Yeah, but what's the worst that happens? They say no. Who cares? If they say yes, that'd be cool. So, yeah. But that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, stop watching.